Hello, Nova Nation. Your Villanova Wildcats are headed to the second round of the FCS Playoffs. It is a very cold Villanova Stadium on this Saturday night in about the mid-20s with a wind chill, so I'm going to try to make it quick. But Villanova took down Eastern Kentucky by a final score of 22-17, and what a battle it was. Coach Ferrante talked about it in his post-game press conference. I think he started with, wow, a nail-biter, and it truly was. Came down to the final play, Matt Morrissey on a pass to House in the back of the end zone, and House did not have both feet inbounds. One foot was on the white line, so no good, and Villanova was able to win this game by 5 points when it was all said and done. But really a defensive battle. Villanova trailed by 14 points at the end of the first quarter, but really they outscored Eastern Kentucky by a lot of points at the start of the second quarter. They allowed just 3 points to Eastern Kentucky from the second quarter to the rest of the game after they scored 14 points in the first quarter. And Villanova actually kept Eastern Kentucky, the Colonels, scoreless in the second half. Villanova's defense, Brendan Bell, Shane Hartzell, all played really well in this game for Villanova, especially in the second half. And what an adjustment it was, right? Villanova has struggled at times to start games this season, but really in the second half, the Cardiac Cats came alive for Villanova. Some other stats: Connor Watkins, 14 for 24 in this game. He threw 2 passing touchdowns, did have an interception and a fumble. His 2 passing touchdowns, 1 to Devin Smith and 1 to James Weldy. It was Weldy's first touchdown reception of his career, but also his first reception of his career, and it came when the lights were shining the brightest here in the FCS playoffs. I mean, what a moment that must be for James Weldy to have his first ever reception be a touchdown in the playoffs. In addition to that, David Abbott was really good. He had under 100 rushing yards in this game, but in the mid to high 90s when it was all said and done. Abbott did not have a touchdown in this game, but I mean, Villanova heading into the locker room at halftime, they had just 22 rushing yards in the first half, so they really turned it on. They had around 115, 120 rushing yards in the second half alone. So Villanova really found success in the rushing attack, and that was a big reason why they were able to outscore Eastern Kentucky in the second half, and their offense was able to pull away with a 5-point victory. In addition to that, Villanova did struggle in the penalty category. Both teams committed 10 penalties in this game. There were some really outrageous penalties and a lot of replay reviews in this game, but that's all what happens, right, when you have playoff football and it's really cold with the season on the line. Villanova did commit 3 turnovers in this game, so they lost the turnover battle 3-1. Right, Watkins had that interception and then also had a fumble. There was another muffed punt situation with Tanner Maddox earlier in this game, so Villanova was able to lose the turnover battle, unfortunately, but the Wildcats won the special teams battle. I mean, you really look at Villanova in the special teams. Ethan Getman, the Bryant transfer, really struggled in the first half of the season. He made 2 really big field goals at the end of this game, and Coach Ferrante made sure to give him a lot of credit at his post-game press conference. Getman was really good, and technically he had the game-winning field goal against Delaware last weekend on Saturday. In that game, Brendan Bell, of course, had the touchdown against Delaware to kind of secure the victory and make it a 10-point win, but it was Getman's field goal who really, got Villanova to that victory against Delaware, and he did it again this week against Eastern Kentucky. 2 big field goals late in this game. So like player of the game, you go a lot of different ways. We talked about on our broadcast, James Weldy, obviously with his first ever reception in his college career, and it came in a playoff game. Watkins was pretty good. I mean, got 2 touchdowns, did have some turnover issues. Abbott, was the star of the second half, but for me, it was Ethan Getman as it just wrapped up. 2 really big field goals got Villanova across the finish line, their 10th win of the season. It is their 10th time in program history that Villanova will finish the season with 10 overall wins. So the Wildcats, they get their 10th win of the season, and they'll take on Incarnate Word next Saturday at 2 p.m. in Texas. So stay tuned for much more action on my Twitter, Nova Nation. Thank you so much from a very cold Villanova Stadium. It's David Szczepanski, WXVU Sports Director. Have a great night and a great weekend, Nova Nation. And as always, go Cats!